Welcome to the Curator Salon podcast. I'm Geeta Joshi, and today I'm really excited to be talking to Jeremy Wolff, who is the artist in residence at the Empire State Building. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hey, Geeta, how are you?
I'm good. So cool to be talking to you.
This is exciting. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about last week's launch at the Empire State Building. That looked amazing. I was following all of that on Instagram. How did it go? How was it for you?
Oh man, it honestly still hasn't really hit me that even happened. It's almost surreal. For everyone who doesn't know, I was named resident artist of the Empire State Building, and I actually got to cut the ribbon to the new store launch, and they just renovated their gift shop for the observatory. So they moved it from the 80th floor down to the second floor. So anyone who goes up to the top of the Empire State Building and check out the observatory, they are then directed down to the gift shop, which I am now the resident artist of.
And that project is a whole blend of things, because one of the things I saw was the artwork on display on the walls, which you seem to have like scores of people walking past all the time. But then there's other merchandise as well that you put your designs on.
Correct. Yes. So right now they have 3 original pieces that are hanging up at the end of a hallway. So everyone who walks in has to walk directly past these 3 original pieces. And then they're going to be putting the image on all sorts of products like tote bags, notepads, magnets, mugs, socks. I mean, you name it. We're really exploring getting this image of the Empire State Building I did out there and into tourists and people who are visiting New York City's hands.
So it's a whole new venture even for that client, isn't it? For the Empire State Building, having an artist in residence. How did that come about?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is the first time they're doing something like this. They're making a brand for, they're calling it Empire on Fifth. So they want it to be more upscale, like Fifth Avenue stores and Fifth Avenue feel, like this New York expensive feel to it. And they want to bring in name brands. So they brought in Vineyard Vines and Puma and Swarovski Crystal and some Disney products and some really great. They have a really cool Zippo lighter. Basically, just some name brand stuff that they've never done before. And then they included myself. So J Wolff Studios is now one of the major name brands that they're basing the store around. Yeah, I'm definitely. It's just like crazy to be in that same ballpark as some of these upscale brands and just exciting that I could be on the same level almost.
Do you feel like it's changing the direction of your work in any way?
Yeah, definitely. So I do consider myself a contemporary artist. I mean, that's first and foremost what my goal was when I first started becoming an artist, was to be in the contemporary art world. But now I'm learning so much more about the commercial art world and how, I could do one piece and basically live a good life off of it by licensing it to the right people. So there's just so many aspects of art that, I'm still learning about and growing and taking it from one part of my career to the next. And yeah, I mean, this is definitely more of a commercial side of art than the contemporary.
So when did you go full time with your artwork?
It was September 2014, actually. Exactly. I had just recently decided that I wanted to not be in this corporate America world where I was jumping from job to job in New York City, any job that would be willing to pay me $10,000 a year more or whatever it was. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take that one. Mainly because I just wasn't happy at any of them, and it was pretty much the same thing at a different job. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I just hated that lifestyle. I thought that I was being held back from using all of the tools, all my creativity. It was basically just kind of in a box, and I was just doing what I was told, and it just wasn't a lifestyle for me. So I thought about it, thought long and hard about skills that I had and skills that I've learned through the corporate America. And college and whatnot. And I knew art was the thing I wanted to pursue. I mean, I knew I was good at painting. I was good at, being creative. So I chose art and used all these skills that I developed along the 7 or 8 years of being a professional beforehand. I used it towards art.
And did you start off like part-time? Were you doing like producing artwork as a leisure activity, for example, or, were you doing sort of side projects for friends or anything like that? Or did you just go all in from the beginning?
Yeah, I just went all in, to be honest with you. I wasn't really doing any art at all beforehand. I just knew I liked it. So in high school, I was just a good painter. I liked doing it. I have a cool little story from when I was in high school I could get into. But before that, I'll just say I liked doing it. And then I minored in it in college with the idea of knowing that I just enjoyed it. So I figured like I might as well just get some college credits doing something I like for, just for the hell of it. And thank God that I did, because I learned how to professionally paint and create colors and just everything you would need to be a professional painter. I learned in college, plus some art history and everything else that you really just need to know in order to become an artist. And it was just always in my back pocket. I used to just call it my ace in the hole. Like if I ever needed to do something, let's try art. And then the opportunity arose that I was able to do it, and I haven't looked back since.
That's fantastic.
I could tell you the high school story also. It's pretty brief. Basically, I did this painting. I was a hockey player, and I worked on it. It wasn't that difficult. I know the teacher helped me a little bit, but it was basically like a class of like degenerates that didn't care about art at all. It was like, oh, let me just take art so I can get an easy A. Mr. O'Brien, he doesn't care. And then there were like 5 or 6 people who actually did care about art, and I was one of them. So during class, like you'd have like 15 kids who just didn't care and they were joking off. And then the 5 kids who were learning from the teacher. And I did this one painting, and I remember I brought it home, and my dad looks at me and goes like, who did that painting? And I was like, I did. And he goes, no, you didn't. I go, yeah, I painted that. And he's like, no, you really didn't. I was like, Dad, I really did paint this painting. And he just never believed me. And to this day, he actually still has this painting. And it just like goes to show you that like, art was like never really something that I like wanted to do. I never talked about it. I never like told my parents like, hey, I want to be an artist. It was kind of just something I knew I could do, and it was fun. And then sure enough, like now this is what I do full time, and excelling at it too. It's not even just like, it's something in a career. Like I legitimately think I'm going to be world famous, and it's going to be huge.
Well, you did make it to Art Basel as well. How did that come around?
Yeah, so I've been to Art Basel 4 times now. Last year was my 4th year, and I've just made it a goal for myself to become bigger every year I go there, or just do something bigger every year. So I mean, it's Art Basel's crazy. I mean, it keeps just growing and growing into something different each year. As far as like, you got the contemporary blue chip art at the actual Art Basel fair, and now all of a sudden you have these like random pop-up tents that are like throwing concerts and having all these like fireworks and trucks and everything. I mean, it's crazy. So Art Basel is definitely changing, and I've seen it change firsthand in only 4 years. So I can't imagine what people think it's changed from like 8 or 10 years ago.
And is that Art Basel you were in Switzerland or at
Miami? It's in Miami. I've never been to the one out of the country. I haven't been to any art fairs out of the country yet. So that's on my to-do list, to travel the world a little bit more coming up soon.
Well, that's about getting with the right galleries, isn't it? The ones that are doing the international fairs, I guess.
Yeah. I think a lot of them are there's so many fairs in general now. So you have basically these big conglomerates that run each one of their set of fairs. So yeah, when all these conglomerates all come together for one big fair, that would be Art Basel. But when they do separate ones, like then there's one's in LA, one's in San Diego, one's in Vegas, one's in Dallas. I mean, I'm only talking about the American ones, but yeah, when you get to international, I mean, yeah, there's just so many of them now.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I mean, just fairs are popping up all the time now.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I mean, in the UK or certainly across Europe, but I think it's true of the US as well. There's a lot of artist fairs happening as well, where artists are selling directly. They're the people taking the booth to sell directly to the buyers and collectors. Have you done any artist fairs?
Yeah, so I did one last year. I was at Spectrum, which is next to Red Dot at Art Basel. And it was such a great experience in terms of a learning experience, as far as just seeing, the sheer volume of people coming in to check out the art and enjoy it. I learned a lot as far as just the sheer amount of people. Like I said, it's a bit saturated, I thought, with all these art fairs. You have hundreds of thousands of pieces of art that all just collide into one 5-mile radius. And I mean, I think it's become something that people just go to enjoy, like it's Disney. But meanwhile, there are hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars being traded within this Art Basel period. So it's a major deal, and I just think that you can really take what you want from it. If you want to go there and buy art, the opportunity is there. If you want to go there and enjoy art and just see the new art, the opportunity is there. If you want to just go and connect with different galleries or different people, that's also a great opportunity. I mean, there's nothing bad about art fairs, and the growing art market is just proof of it.
So I saw on one of the videos that you did with Rachel Spencer that you started off actually selling work for a few $100s, but of course now your work's selling for thousands. How did you start making that change?
I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that you're building a resume as an artist just like you would with any other job. I don't think if you're right out of college, you're not going to be giving a CEO, $200,000 a year job. You have to earn that $200,000 a year job. You have to go up through the ranks. So I think any artist has to start out, if you're going to sell your work, you have to start out selling your work for what people are willing to pay for it. Most of the time, people don't want to pay a lot of money for artwork. Let's be real. So, I mean, I was selling dog portraits or anything people wanted to pay me. I was selling them for like $200, $250. It was just a start. I was like, you know what? You got to start somewhere. And once you sell something for $250, you don't sell anything less for $250. That's your point. So the next painting, I was like, next one's going to be $400. So I sold a painting for $400. And then the next one was $600. And you start building and building and building. But it all comes down to what I just said is if people aren't going to pay what they're going to pay what they think it's worth ultimately. And if you're not showing that you're improving or showing consistency and showing things that you could build on your resume that make it worth, or your artist statement or your CV or whatever whatever you want to call it as an artist, if you're not improving on that every year and staying consistent, then people aren't going to want to pay thousands of dollars for your artwork. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting point. I've been talking about this as well in my Facebook group around, the artist start showing that commitment, isn't it, as well, to your practice. Art prices don't go down. Typically we don't, certainly on the primary market, you should be, your prices do need to be going up each time.
Yeah. And I think that does have something to do with consistency and just your work ethic and determination of being an artist. I think the art market's fickle in general. So if you're not riding with momentum and if you're not consistently raising the bar for yourself, then it doesn't make sense for your prices to rise either. I mean, for instance, some of my accomplishments, I think, raise the prices of my work. I mean, once I did a feature with Tommy Hilfiger, my prices go up. Once I get a feature in Forbes magazine, my prices go up. Once I'm on, your podcast, the prices go up. It's just certain things that once you have a solo show in New York City, your prices can go up. I mean, it's just resume builders over and over and over again.
I agree.
And if you're not achieving these goals and these resume builders, then your prices will dictate that, and people won't pay for these high prices if you're not earning these high prices.
No, I totally agree. I think there's definitely, this is one of the things that the artist has to actually take a lot of responsibility for themselves. It's like finding, because it doesn't even working with galleries. A gallery isn't going to do all of that for you all the time. That's just one gallery. They might take your work to the fairs and they might give you the solo show, but they might not be the people that reach out to the corporate to do the collaboration and things like that, and other media attention as well. How did you get your feature in Forbes?
So it's actually a cool story. I was doing a Forbes piece, and I kind of just put it out there, and I wrote on the bottom Q&A with renowned artist J. Wolff. And this was before I was even relatively on the map of anything. I think this was one of my first big pieces. I would just kept hashtagging Forbes and tagging certain Forbes thing, and all of a sudden someone who wrote for Forbes ended up reaching out to me and was like, I'm a contributor, I could show people this in the office. And I was like, that'd be great. Yeah, show it around. And then he goes, a week later, he was like, you know what? Let me do one better. I could actually just do a little write-up for you on it. And sure enough, I got a Q&A with a Forbes contributor, Dan Reich, actually. So now he's a good friend of mine. And yeah, I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, it's kind of some luck, but then again, you create your own luck. I'm a big believer in that.
And a nice bit of hustle in there as well.
Yeah. I just kind of like put it out there, and it happened. So, and that happens a lot. It's you put things out in the air, and things happen for you. You just gotta just let people see it, and it happens.
Let's talk about Instagram, because you've become quite big on Instagram now. And Instagram was one of the platforms you were using well before you had a website.
Yeah, I still think Instagram takes more precedent over my website. I barely even use my website. I update it like once a year, and I probably should update it more, especially now. But yeah, Instagram basically is my website. It's my business card. It's everything. And then if you're not really on Instagram, then chances are then you're probably not going to want to work with me, because that's pretty much where all my business is. So if you heard of me, you probably found me on Instagram. It's just, I've been doing my business on there for almost 5 years now. So I truly want to thank that platform for my success, because without it, I don't know what I'd be doing.
How much time do you spend on Insta in a day then?
When I first started, it was a lot more than it is now. I used to be on Instagram like 6 hours a day, even when I was painting. I'm not even kidding. Like, I would like hundreds and thousands of pictures on a nightly basis, just so I could get my name out there by people I wanted to see. And since then, now I still spend like 2 hours a day, just shuffling pictures and getting inspiration, and, studying artists and seeing how they're making it, and tricks of the trade, and just people they're talking to, and just like networking and getting in people's eyes. And yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable tool that's right at everyone's fingertips. And I always try to tell people that, you can do anything you want now because of things like Instagram. And I always try to inspire people to do things like what I'm doing.
Do you use any other social media platforms, or is it only Instagram for you?
I use my Facebook, but it's just connected to my Instagram. So it's just getting fed whatever I post on my Instagram. It's not really like anything serious. It's just more so like, so friends and family could keep up. Like, I don't advertise on it or anything. So yeah, it's mainly just Instagram at this point. Yeah. Being super active and consistent. I think Instagram has a lot to do with just being consistent, as far as, what images you're putting out there, what message you're trying to convey. And if you get into a rhythm with Instagram, I think the algorithms start kicking in with you. And I know everyone has like issues with the Facebook and Instagram algorithm, and it's just a whole other topic in itself. But yeah, I just think you just got to keep at it, because there's just so much opportunity out there. And
I think it's also a really easy way to connect with people. Like when I reached out to you, you're very, very responsive very quickly. And I think that is one thing that social media has done, and particularly Instagram for me. It's just a really easy way to start conversations with people.
Yeah. I mean, even the most famous people in the world are pretty receptive on Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. I mean, like I talk to famous people all the time. I mean, it's pretty crazy, like how easily we could just talk to whoever we want, and just be interactive. And I like when people use the social media for good, rather than like they're just trolls all over the place too. Like, I've dealt with many trolls who are just mean for no reason, or like, just or like, I don't know. Yeah, there's just like a lot of hate and mean things out there, and I just want to use it for inspiration and love and motivation.
But one thing we haven't talked about was your actual work itself.
Yeah, so I like to say my work's like a contemporary pop street art feel. I use like a traditional painting background for portraits and landscapes, and even illustrations like cartoons. And then I'm trying to add a street art spray paint vibe. That's really, I think, what's really changing the art scene right now in general is just street art. And I'm really incorporating it into gallery art. So I'm trying to fuse these two styles together, or multiple styles with like cartoons, portraiture, landscape, and street art into one. And I like using bright colors and splatters and stencils that are more like household items. So yeah, I've kind of made this one pattern into my own. Like I've tried to incorporate into as much of my art as possible.
There's a really interesting painting that I was looking at. I don't know if it was on Insta or if it was on your website with the Sopranos meeting the Simpsons.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm actually doing a whole entire Simpsons series. Actually inspired by one of my favorite artists, Cause, who did a Simpsons series way back when, which sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. So I did my own little Simpsons series, and basically it's a mashup series where I'm taking pop culture and mashing it up with the Simpsons. And pretty much, I mean, the Simpsons have been around for 30 years, so you could take any reference to pop culture and correlate it with the Simpsons quite easily. So I've picked out about 20 or so characters that I'm mashing up with the Simpsons. I've done about 9 of them already. And then the future plan would be to take that series to, Comic-Con or something like that, and just have a whole launch of my Simpsons mashup series. And yeah, that's definitely in the works, and slowly but surely. But that's one of my favorite pieces I've ever done. That Tony Soprano one, yeah, Tony and Fat Tony.
So what have you got coming up for the rest of the year? Obviously, we're only in January. You've got this residency. What else have you got planned?
So the residency is kind of taken most of my time for the most part. I'm working with so many different people and creating great products that I could sell at the Empire State Building. I have a cool little collab that I'm going to be doing some lapel pins. I'm going to be making socks. I'm going to be working with one woman who we're going to try and set up some major collaborations with a couple major brands, do some cool clothing. Can't disclose any of the brands yet, but hopefully something gets going with that. And then, and then the Simpsons series, obviously continuing with that, like we just mentioned, and just creating. I'm going to be working with a couple galleries internationally, one of them specifically in Israel. So I have an Israel pop series coming up with some Israeli icons and things, like Tel Aviv and whatnot. So that's going to be a cool series I got to do. Yeah, just a lot. It's just never ending. It's just I have so many ideas and so many paintings I want to do, and not enough hands to do them.
Do you have any studio assistants, or is that something that you're looking to get in next?
I am all alone right now. I have my manager. I'm my sales manager. I work with a couple galleries here and there, and people that help me with my printing and whatnot. But as far as handling my business now, I'm myself. I am painting all myself. I'm doing all my Instagram posts. I am doing all of that, and I do foresee it changing. I mean, it has to. It's for the better. For the better. I'm just a control freak, and I like to take care of my own business. But I do foresee it in the future. Having a manager and the whole 9 yards. So one day.
Amazing. Thanks so much for your time. Where can people find you online?
So my website is just jwolffstudios.com. But my Instagram is at jwolffstudios, and it's JWOLFFSTUDIOS. So just the 2 F's there. And at jwolffstudios is pretty much it. That's where you can find me.
I will add all of that in the show notes. Thank you, Jeremy, so much for your time this evening.
Thank you. This was great. I'm super happy to be on.